All right, let's talk about it. Raptors lose game 1 against the Philadelphia 76ers. The final score 131 to 111. It's Luca Rosano here with my post-game reaction. Hit that like, hit that sub button, and hit that post notification bell for more videos just like this. What can I say? This was a disastrous game for the Toronto Raptors. And at the end of the night, losing the basketball game wasn't even the worst thing. We're actually going to start this video by talking about the two biggest storylines to follow this game. And that is Thaddeus Young leaves game 1 with a thumb sprain and did not return. His timetable is unknown. And then what had everybody talking, what had me literally fighting back, holding back my emotions as I watched Scottie Barnes struggle to get up on his own 2 feet, had to be helped off, grimacing in pain, fighting back the tears. Scottie Barnes spraining his left ankle after a freak play with Joel Embiid, all 280 pounds of him, stepping on Scottie Barnes' ankle. You can only imagine how painful that is. It did not look good watching it initially. And now everybody is talking about, what does this mean moving forward? What is the status going to be for Thad Young and especially Scottie Barnes? The Rookie of the Year candidate, a guy who I think is going to win the award. A guy in Scottie Barnes who played like the Raptors' best player in the first half. He almost had a triple-double in this game. He had 15 points, 8 assists, and 10 rebounds. He was the Raptors' lone bright spot in this very forgettable game in that first half and going into the second half. He was playing dynamite. So to see that go down, that just brought tremendous pain, as I don't know if Scottie Barnes will be able to return to the series. And that is going to be the biggest question that we're going to have an answer to come Monday night for game 2. Because if I had to give you my initial reaction based on what I saw, based on how it looked in my eyes, I don't think Scottie Barnes is going to come back in the series. And you know the Raptors are not going to rush him back. They're going to prioritize Scottie Barnes' future over the series, and rightfully so. You do not take a chance with such a good young talent and run the risk of further injury just to get him back in a game this series. I hope I'm wrong, but that is just my initial gut feeling of the whole Scottie Barnes situation. And Thad Young, if he's out for an extended period of time too, with that left thumb injury, that's going to be another big loss for the Toronto Raptors. You talk about a very key piece from off the bench. We saw Thad Young come into this game and really get things under control for a Raptors team that looked a little shaky to begin this game. So those are 2 pieces that we don't know if they'll be back in the series. That is huge. 2 big losses for the Toronto Raptors. And the Toronto Raptors now have to quickly rebound and respond against the Sixers team that looked pretty darn good. The Philadelphia 76ers played a near-perfect game. At one point, they only had 1 turnover. They finished this game with 3 turnovers. But you look at the production they got, it was spectacular. And it all started with Tyrese Maxey, a guy who I called the X Factor for the Philadelphia 76ers coming into the series. He had 38 points, 2 shy of 40. He looked like the second coming of Allen Iverson. And if the Sixers get this type of production from Maxey, they're not only going to be a formidable opponent for the Raptors for the rest of the series, the Sixers are going to be a favorite going forward. If Maxey's playing like this and you get Joel Embiid numbers and Harden numbers as well. I mean, you look at Joel Embiid, he had 19, 15, and 4. It looked like he lived at the foul line. Embiid's going to get the foul calls. And he made the most of those opportunities. James Harden had 22 and 14. He got all of his teammates involved. And guys were just hitting shots, man. You talk about Maxey with 38. Tobias Harris, who I even forgot he was on this team, with how much of a non-factor he has been for the Sixers for the better part of the season, and he came through with 26. So this Sixers team, they could do no wrong shooting the basketball. They shot it 51% from the field and 50% from three. The Raptors cannot stop these guys. They gave up 131 points. They had given up, I think it was 100 points before the fourth quarter. The Raptors defense, this ain't going to cut it. They allow the Sixers to flex their muscles offensively, as this Sixers team does have more offensive firepower than the Raptors. And clearly, you look at the Raptors, the things that stood out to me is they don't have a proper answer for Joel Embiid. And you look at the bigs that they did try to throw at Embiid, no one's really going to stop Embiid. He's going to get inside. He's going to get his calls. He's going to get to the line. It's an anomaly once he gets inside of the paint and goes up with it, that one of two things are going to happen. Either he's going to score or he's going to get a foul call. And I thought in this game, Siakam, OG, and Van Vliet needed to be better. And they started off slow, especially in that first half. It was Scottie Barnes. That was the lone bright spot in the first half. The first half was terrible to watch. And then in the second half, you got to credit the Sixers, because every time it looked like the Raptors were going to make a run, the Sixers hit their shots. In particular, the Raptors had cut it to 11. James Harden makes 3 good plays in a row to put the momentum back on the Sixers side. He hits a 3. He blows by, I think it was Siakam, en route to the layup. And then he makes a nice pass for a bucket. And then once the Scottie Barnes incident happened, you could just feel the energy level of what was left from the Raptors just evaporate. From that point on, you saw the Raptors and they looked like a wounded team. And Gary Trent Jr., he struggled mightily. I said that was one thing I was going to look for in particular. If Gary Trent Jr. was going to be able to be that guy to stretch the floor and hit his shots, because Gary Trent Jr. is going to get good looks. He had good looks tonight, but he was unable to hit his shots. And a guy like Maxey, he was capitalizing on everything. So this was a very rough game for the Toronto Raptors. And look, the Raptors are not a good game one team. So I'm not going to overreact, because let's put it this way. If the Raptors win game 2, the pressure goes back on Philly. And all the Raptors need to do is win one of 2. And all of a sudden, they're in a good position going back to Toronto for games 3 and 4. But what really concerns me is what happened with Thad Young and then Scottie Barnes. Because if the Raptors don't have both those players for the remainder of the series, it's going to be ultra tough. It was already going to be tough with both of them healthy, going up against the Sixers, who clearly have come to play, for now at least. But if those two guys are out, it's going to be an uphill battle. And everybody has to be good. Everybody's got to play perfect basketball. Boucher can't make silly mistakes, can't make silly fouls. Achua's going to have a bigger role. Gary Trent Jr. has to start hitting his shots. Siakam has to put up monstrous numbers, and OG and Van Vliet have to put up big-time numbers as well. They cannot afford to get off to a slow start. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at Scottie Barnes, and that's going to be a big loss if the Raptors got to play any more of these games without Scottie Barnes and or Thad Young. So, yeah, this is just one of those games that you forget about. I don't want to talk about this game anymore. I did a 3-hour live stream about it. One of those games that nothing seemed to go the Raptors' way. Nothing. Shots weren't falling. Everything was going right for Philly. You have the 2 tragic injuries. Nothing seemed to go right for the Raptors for this game 1 in Philadelphia. And they are down 1-0. So what are your thoughts from game 1? How do you feel of the Raptors' chances moving forward? Let me know. Hit me up in the comment section down below. I read all the comments. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell. If you want to see more post-game playoff reaction videos like this, let me know as well. And yeah, we will see what happens and how the Raptors respond for game 2 on Monday night in Philadelphia. It's going to be a big one. This is all. This is Luca Rosano signing off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.